everyone, I'm Margaret Williamson, and I will be doing yet another presentation on your heart, and the title of this presentation is Save Your Heart, Read the Label. And what I'm talking about in this presentation is looking at the nutritional labels on boxes of food that you get from the grocery store. And probably a lot of us know people who have heart disease or have had heart disease. Does anybody know a friend or family member who's had heart disease? Okay. So it looks like about 50% of the room, which is which is not a rare thing, because heart disease is the #1 killer in the United States. So what I'm going to do in this presentation is show you how to read a nutrition label and then teach you some of the aspects of heart nutrition that are found on the label. But first, we're going to watch a very brief video.
Hi, I'm Jenny Garth, and I can truly speak from my heart on the subject of heart disease because it has affected me my entire life. It's the one huge family health issue on both sides, and it runs strong. It all started when my father suffered a heart attack and was diagnosed with arterial sclerosis at age 50. My dad has always been my big, strong hero, the man I lived and breathed for. So when he started having heart problems, I was devastated at the thought of losing him. I watched him go from training horses and driving tractors to fearing that too much exertion would prompt another heart attack. Over the course of 25 years, he underwent multiple open heart surgeries, bypasses, stents, balloons, you name it. Caring for him throughout the years and seeing firsthand how the disease affected our family made me want to take my health into my own hands. When I turned 30, I found a wonderful cardiologist and committed to going every year for a checkup, even though I was convinced I'd be the exception to the family gene pool. Instead, I found out that I have a leaky heart valve. It's not a serious condition, but it reminds me how important it is to stay in tune with my body. Today, I read everything I can on healthy living. I make healthy choices for myself. I hardly eat fried foods, don't smoke, and I stay really active. Most women don't know that the heart is a very forgiving organ. Even if you've abused it by smoking or eating badly or lack of exercise, you can start right now to repair it by simply making the right choices. Just keep recommitting to a healthy life every morning and every moment. Even though my father lost his battle, he is still an inspiration to me, along with my beautiful girls and my amazing husband. And there's nothing like a family of women who rally together in support of one another. Together, we truly can prevent heart disease. I'm Jenny Garth, and I go absolutely crazy red for my family, my daughters, and my hubby.
Going back to my presentation, I have another question for you guys. And Jenny Garth touched on this in her YouTube video. But how many of you knew that heart disease is preventable? Just raise your hand. Okay, so several of us already knew that heart disease is preventable. And one of the ways that you can prevent heart disease, and it's never too early to start, is to read the label, read the nutrition label, and understand what it's telling you. So I brought in, this is one of my favorites from Trader Joe's. These are chili lime chicken burgers, and some of you might purchase these too. But I just want you to go ahead and look at the nutrition label that's on the side, and note that one package of burgers has 4 servings. So there are 4 burgers in this package. And I'll just go ahead and pass this around. You can look at the number of servings and the calories on this nutrition label. And also, just so you know, the Food and Drug Administration requires every single food manufacturer in the United States to to put grams and milligrams and percentages on their nutrition label. So there are some key heart health nutrients on all labels that are really important, and I won't bombard you with everything on the label, but just note that the ones that we will look at are total fat, saturated fat, cholesterol, fiber, and sodium. So just also know that the Food and Drug Administration decided that the average American would consume around 2,000 calories per day. So all of these totals are based on 2,000 calorie diets. So if you eat more or less, you can just adjust the amount per serving that would tailor to your needs. So for total fat, 65 grams is the maximum amount of fat that you should actually be consuming, which is 30% of your total calories. And included in that number is saturated fat. So 20 of those grams of fat can be included in the 65 grams right here. 10% of your calories can come from saturated fat. Also, cholesterol, we can only have a maximum amount of 300 milligrams per day. And our bodies actually make cholesterol, so we don't even need to consume it. But since cholesterol is in a lot of food, we can have 300 milligrams a day. Fiber, try to get 25 milligrams. Pretty much no one gets this, so this is really important for guarding your heart. And then sodium, less than 2,400 milligrams. So I came up with a simple daily value concept. So this is something that, again, is based on a 2,000 calorie diet. And for intakes of total fat, sodium, cholesterol, and fiber, it's considered low if you have 5% in any of these categories. And it's considered high if you have 20% in any of these categories. Now you may be wondering, well, how much fat do I want to have, or how much sodium do I want to have in a day? Well, I came up with another chart for you to look at. Total fat. You want less than 5% of your daily value of calories to come from your total fat. So that's not very much. And if we look at the chicken burgers, we can see pretty quickly that if we eat a chicken burger, that uses up almost all of our fat per day. Also, cholesterol, less than 5% of our daily value of calories should come from cholesterol. Dietary fiber, more than 20%. Sodium, less than 5% also. So all of these together will promote heart health. I've also brought in another box from Trader Joe's that is organic brown rice. And how many of you know that brown rice is pretty healthy for you? Okay, so I think that's pretty much everyone except for a few people. It looks like 1 cup is the serving for the brown rice, and there's 6 cups in here. So if I decided to have some brown rice, I get my cup of brown rice, and note that it only has 200 calories, so that's pretty good, something in addition to your meal. Also, if you look up here, you'll see that total fat is 2%. And also there's no saturated fat and no trans fat. Also, if you look at the cholesterol, which is right here, it's 0%, sodium is 0%, and dietary fiber is 12%. Does anybody remember how much fiber you're supposed to have? Okay, so I'll just pass this around to if anyone would like to look at it. I've also brought in butter. How many of us use butter? Okay, it tastes really good, but it's really important to use this sparingly. The butter, 1 serving would be 1 tablespoon, which is 1/16 of this. So I'll pass this around too so everyone can see it. But basically, 17% of the butter is going to be your daily value of fat, and 20% is saturated fat. So you already know this is not heart healthy. There is 5% cholesterol, 4% sodium, and no fiber. So everything else is very low. I did bring in some sardines that are also very heart healthy. And there's 7 grams of fat in the sardines, which technically 11% fat, that's mid-range, so that's not really bad. But only 7% of them, or only 7% of the daily value is coming from saturated fat. So these are pretty healthy for us also. So now it's your turn. If everyone can look at your Nutri-Grain bars that are on your table, I would like everyone to determine what the daily values of the Nutri-Grain bars for fat, sodium, cholesterol, and dietary fiber, if they're high or if they're in a good range. And I'll give you guys a few seconds to do that. Like to share what they discovered is on the nutritional label for the Nutri-Grain bars? Okay.
It's good because there's no cholesterol.
Right.
But I don't know if the sodium is high or if you have one
5%, is that what you said? Yeah, 5%. Since that's on the low end, that's considered good.
What's the total?
Yeah. Between 5 is considered low and 20 is considered high. So that's pretty good. Also, the fat, if you guys look at the fat, it's 5% of your daily value of calories. So this is a great snack, and that's why I brought it in for you guys. Additionally, I have some questions for you, and if you guys can just shout out the answers, we'll go through this quickly. True or false? Foods high in fiber promote heart health. True. Good. Trans fats in high amounts are heart healthy. Right. Diets low in sodium include foods with 5% daily value or less. True. A food is considered high in cholesterol if the daily value is 20% or more. Right. Daily values are based on a 2,000 calorie diet. Right. Well, thank you so much for listening to this presentation. I hope you learned about nutritional labels, and feel free to dig into your stuff. Do I have any questions?
When you for like the list on here, is it for one bar? Like anytime that you have to do for one serving, whatever it says?
Right, well you want to look at the serving size and see what the label says. So I think on the Nutri-Grain bars, it says for one bar. Under serving size, and then it gives you servings per container, 8. So the number of calories, 120, that's